Okay, so hello. Thank you so much for joining me in yet another video where I'm here with someone who has survived the abusive cult of the fraud who calls himself Nithyananda. Recently, you saw me interview the dear Annabelle, a survivor from Vishwananda's nefarious organization. And, it was a little cringy for some people seeing me wearing a sheriff badge and making all kinds of what look like off-colored gestures that can sometimes hearken to organizations on this planet that for too long have tried to usurp and steal and claim monopoly over consciousness. But luckily, I think that vibe is resonating with a lot of people, including the beautiful Sofija, who is joining me today to share her Nithyananda story. This interview is totally different from any other interview I've ever conducted on my channel because typically I've interviewed people who were in the cult with me or who I've known on social media for years, who I've had long, deep conversations with and heard their stories. So it's different about you, Sofija. First, welcome. Thank you for joining me. What's different is that you reached out to me with an offer to do one of these interviews, and as of now, I don't know anything about your story. So thank you for your bravery and your willingness to come share.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you a lot. And I think the only brave person here is you.
Aw,
And I've been looking how brave you were actually since 2018 when I think you officially left the cult. And I think everybody has own story, and nevertheless, like regardless how actually someone a role and participation in all this craziness actually is big, and it is worthy of sharing.
yes.
And many people think, oh, my story is not so big as Sarah's, but like, if that bothers you 5 years and you feel like sharing, you never know if someone has the same feeling of not sharing. Oh, it's not a big deal.
Mm.
Maybe you just give a little bit of, motivation and a push for a person to open. And same as an onion, a layer by layer, and that's how actually you contribute to society. And thank you, Sarah, for actually sharing your story, and for all these kids there that are actually extremely brainwashed from an early age, when actually they don't know what they are into. That they all they know is like gurukul, and they are from the beginning, when they are really, when it's dangerous. You are formed as a kid to worship someone who claimed to be a living reincarnation of Shiva.
Yeah. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me, Sophia, that the world hasn't paid closer attention to Nityananda's actions because I kind of expected that when I came out about the fact that the kids had been beaten, that Madhura and Pavana had cried to me about it. I'll say their names now because everyone knows which kids spoke to me at this point. Um, when they told that harrowing story, that heartbreaking story of the beatings, I assumed everyone who heard of it would leave and would speak out. I thought Debbie Chance, who was with me, would, leave and do the right thing. She was trained as an educator, and educators know that if a child cries to you about physical violence, you go to the authorities, you go to child protective services. You don't defend the abuser, you help the child. And so it's been just kind of a shock to me that I've gone to the FBI to make a complaint because these were American kids, and so that would make it their jurisdiction. And they ignored my complaint. I tried to file an FIR with Bidadi police and Ramnagara police, but they're being paid off by the lawyer of Nithyananda through Achalananda Swami, so they ignored my complaint. But the fact that you're here with me now and encouraged to tell your story and to put in your piece of the puzzle, like you said, the layers peel back from the onion or the pieces of the puzzle fall into place. And I do believe we'll win this. It's just sad that kids have to wait and suffer for so long while the law enforcement gets their shit together to do the right thing.
You know, I think how I come across the whole cult is actually through you, and I don't feel like, oh, it's your fault or giving this heavy, energy to it. I think everybody witness actually what the energy we hold within us. And that was my election, and I'm not that's what it is. I paid the way I was living my life back then. So, and I actually never resonate with how you call him,
Yeah.
a poop.
I started
Actually,
calling it, oh, poops is a good one. Yeah. I
yeah,
started
like the
calling him,
proud is the small word.
yeah, I call him Mithyananda with an M instead of an N because in Sanskrit, Mithya means temporary, delusional, fake, fraudulent, impermanent. So he's Mithyananda. He's the fake bliss. Yeah,
Nithyananda poop. Actually, I forgot what I want to say.
that's okay. How,
Anyway, yes, yeah, the whole thing is the way your language, your talent, your everything, your pure English was actually accent was actually uh, giving that even more power to all what you were saying and what you were told to say. Um, um, was actually so attracting to this lifestyle. And if someone, everyone, each of us that was there or listening at least was a seeker for a truth and actually anything. And Hinduism is the one that actually gives to us Western people this magic and
yeah,
actually a spirituality. And I was always attracted towards um, not 3D world, but everything that's even bigger than 3D world. And that's, for me, it is every religion, but especially Hinduism.
yeah,
That was something that we just feel it, and that's actually what I was looking for. Maybe, as everyone, meditation, something. And then I came across that you are talking actually about some guru that I never resonate at that point. I was pushing myself because I wanted to lead that lifestyle that you claim we will have once we are there. You
right.
were inviting people.
Yeah.
And then I was living for 5 years online, listening. Uh, and of course, each of my friends, they were, if someone is not attracted towards Hinduism or even this lifestyle in ashram and so on, like sannyasi lifestyle, of course, for each of these people that are not attracted, will be saying this is funny, but they were not brainwashed, they were not into it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And my connection with them were more and more like just fading away, and my connection with someone that is claiming to give me that lifestyle I want to live, that freedom, that out of Maya and 3D world is actually Mithyananda.
Yeah, I know. And it's the biggest irony, isn't it? That, the recruitment videos you're talking about, I remember them so well. We had a program, um, the fraud is what I usually just refer to him as. The fraud had told all of us that for every single human being on planet Earth, the way to live enlightenment is to attend his inner awakening program. And I had so many YouTube viewers who were saying, we wish we could go there, but it's too expensive. We can't afford it. And a lot of them were saying they would love to live permanently in the Audinum and live that yogic lifestyle. So that means eating sattvic food, food that's blessed by the temple deities, participating in yogas, pujas, rituals, all the beauty of Sanatana Dharma, which I still love, just like you do. But the fraud told me I could create a free program called Sadashivatva, and anybody who can't afford Inner Awakening can come attend
Exactly.
that transformational program as long as they promise to stay afterwards and live there permanently under the lifelong vow of brahmachari or grihastas if they're married couples, the rishi order. So I believe that once all these people arrive in Bidadi, we're going to create a utopia, because up until then, ashram life was not so much fun. But he promised us once the people arrive, we're going to make the infrastructure to make it comfortable for them. We'll build a palace. We're going to have, he called it like a 7-star luxury resort. And you can tell everyone what it was actually like.
Actually, I have a lot of details to share, and thank you for
Go for it.
opening the
Yes, you're
subject.
welcome to.
Actually, I never would give this much amount of money for any of the awakening programs. I would, sorry, I would if I had, but of course, according to all these programs, I was not completed. Uh, you know, you're not, you haven't done this completion process, and I'm blocking the money to come towards me. And actually, there was a thing, 21-day preparation for life with Guru is a free program, Sarashivatva. And actually, I arrived there beginning of August 2018. I guess 2 weeks
Wow.
after you left.
Right after I was sent to Toronto. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, where is Sarah? You
Oh,
know, oh, she needs to renew a visa and thing. I don't know what was the thing you said in order to just disappear.
yeah.
But it was like, and then one of the people there, they said, you don't need to idealize someone that was here. The main thing is Guru, and you don't need to, you know, we are not here to make friendships. We are here for our own personal growth. That was one of the many red flags. I wanted to be actually, you know, social with someone who is you know, living that lifestyle. And there was nothing like that. They separate us afterwards, male and females. At that point, I didn't start my transitioning and using hormones. So I was with male people,
Yeah.
and it was really, first of all, once we arrived, if the person, the guard, the one of Purna Sannyasi guys was at the gate. Why you need to guard the whole place if everything is, if it's the temple of someone who claimed to be living a reincarnation of Shiva?
I
They
wondered that.
have,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you have Kalabhairava and all these um, things in front. If they are protectors, why you need all the cameras? Plus, they opened the gate like we are criminals, and they didn't want to let us in because we are wearing Western clothes, and we came for Sarashivatva program that is going to start tomorrow. And who are you? You just, do you have at least my name? They needed to check hours and hours. We were sitting in front of the gate and just waiting like the worst criminals.
Wow.
Once we came in, there is a beautiful vibe of all these deities, of everything that's there, the nature. but like the whole entrance and can you remind me the name of the big the
Kalabai.
the 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 pool? No, the pool at the
Oh,
right side,
yes. The Vaidya
the
Sara.
ritual.
Vaidya
Yeah,
Sara.
the
Sorry.
whole this place towards first dorms, and then of course the kitchen, and all these parts was telling me that's so far from actually the golden temple that was about to be built.
Right.
There was a lot of moments where is actually where you can tell this is a huge land full of constructions and all the things that it was thinking like you are going to be a fucking slave to
Yeah.
this place where you're going to be a busy bee.
Yeah.
One day it might become, if he become even more wealthy and rich, to this like golden temple, whatever.
Yeah. And you're right.
And then
Yeah. Sorry,
yes,
go for it. Go ahead.
nothing. The second thing that was actually for me unfair was we were thrown to really bad dorms
Yeah.
where we were, you know, you see of course people that are maybe couples or sharing accommodations or living at least alone in the room, and they gave us like sharing space like in the army.
Yeah.
Okay, that's less of a problem if we get what we came for, to
Mm.
meet at least the guru. But at that point, he was hiding in
Ecuador.
how you call it,
Yeah.
was hiding in one of these sacred
Yeah.
places.
He was
Varanasi.
he wasn't even hiding in a sacred place. They Ranjita's team doctored photos from a previous Parivrajaka, made it look like through Photoshop he was in Varanasi, but he was actually long gone by then. He was either in Trinidad or in Ecuador at that point in August of
Hmm.
2018. So they
Okay,
weren't even honest about where he was in the world to their own, so-called, you nailed it, basically. They wanted people to be slaves forever in that place. And the master doesn't have to tell the slave where he's going. And that's the ultimate lie that the fraud told his Sangha, was that master disciple relationship means lifting up the disciples, but in reality, it's stepping on the heads of the disciples to try to get his own greed satisfied. And a psychopathic narcissist like him will never have his greed satisfied. So it's permanent, a permanent struggle to try to appease his demon, which is unappeasable. Yeah.
you know, you mentioned many times many about ahimsa and all this no violence and all this shit
Yeah.
is actually first and only thing that I personally saw that a kid at the morning on a live actually satsang was the kids. Everybody there at some point fell asleep
Yeah.
because you need to hold your body, like straight and all these. First you wake up, you do all this showering and cleansing and whatnot,
Mm.
and then you go yoga, and then on an empty stomach, and then you are deprived, and then you need to listen something that's really intense, and all this, like audio and plus the accent for me was hard first to understand, and then all these kids that needs to perform, and they are all sitting like a with their spine straight and like a soldiers, and if any of them is just kind of fall asleep, or their head is about to, you know, they were beaten.
Yeah.
And even behind the cameras, there was a teacher. I can tell the lady. There was really really really, um, I don't know which word should I use, but she was really like a stepmother in these cartoons
Like an
that
evil.
was actually really really cruel to them.
Mm.
And all I see is just like unhappy kids.
Yeah.
They are coming from their own, you know, little, you know, houses, and the way they go to the and to the satsang, I see all these kids, beautiful kids that are actually down, deep down, like unhappy, and you can see they are not glowing.
Yeah. It's
And
true.
everything they show on the camera is, you can even tell they are scared. They are kind of programmed to say what they are telling them. You know, like they do have some powers. They, you can tell they read blindfolded.
Yeah.
Their third eye is awakened. I can tell they are not lying. They were doing stuff in front of me. But hey, they are, bravo for them. It's
Yeah.
nothing. The fucking guru was not, didn't achieve any of
Yeah.
those.
You're
It's
right.
their everyday, you know, like practicing and being soldiers on their own,
Yeah.
who are, you know what I'm trying to say. It's
Absolutely.
nothing was him. Even holding his picture around the neck
Mhm.
was just, it was for me really, really, and from all these Sarashivatva participants, I was the one that was the craziest to wear this thing around the neck, Shiva, Rudraksha mala and thing. And we got it, and I was even more like, I felt like there was like, why am I even wearing this thing that was getting dirty and everything, the lifestyle we lived in dorms, and um, at some point during the night, they said we need to move out from the dorms, and we go to the you know, where are the kept the these all these requisites and all these things for him when he comes to the stage. You know, this big
Yes. Yeah.
how
Um,
did they call it, part secret?
Sacred arts. The sacred.
Yes, sacred arts, exactly. And then after sacred arts, there are big containers.
Yeah.
I think even workers in UAE, where I'm living now, are having better conditions if they are working in construction areas. But the guy, I don't know his spiritual name, but the blissful athlete, the
Grammar. Yeah. Drida.
please,
Drida.
Andrida. Yeah, he was charged for us to kind of train us and to be at this part backwards, back in on this huge land that the fraud is actually stealing the land. I heard of someone else there, and I have a lot of stories about how we were sleep deprived, and actually they want us to be awakened in order to guard the walls
Oh,
from other people from the village, not to jump in, because they it happens sometimes they just want to jump in and you know, like steal stuff, or I don't know what was the thing actually. And Gorshala and all these animals there, they need to be, you know, like taken care of, you know, if someone jump in. And we were building the wall uh, um, and so on. But it was just they tell us like, that's a game, and that's you need to every time something is hard, you need to do the completion. You need to stop doubting. You don't need to think. You just need to, you know, imagine a guru in your third eye, and he will give you the power. And thanks God, I was never actually, I eat like a bird, and the food was there really delicious. So that was the only happiness I actually was waiting for
Wow.
during one day. And being friendly and kind of, you know, chit chat and gossiping in between with the new participants, because the people that were there, they were really not even friendly to us, because anything I was saying, I was back then, even I mean now, and back then I stopped my Reiki healing thing I was doing, because Reiki is bullshit
That's what they said.
comparing to his powers.
Yeah.
So forget everything you know, and you don't need to think even. He will think for you.
Yeah. And that's the worst abuse they've done to the kids you mentioned in the very beginning of our conversation. You know, children who were born to parents who are already disciples of the fraud who calls himself Nithyananda. Their entire life is spent second guessing themselves, questioning their judgment, repressing their emotions, shutting off anything about themselves that makes them human, vulnerable, because they're told victim mentality is weakness, that's bad, there are no victims. It's one of the worst lies an abuser can tell a victim, is that there are no victims. In reality, there are victims and there are abusers, and it's not a gray area, it's black and white. Who abuses is the one who has power, control, prestige, money, title, and, you know, authority in the situation. And who's the victim is the one who's innocent, deceived, lied to, beaten, cheated, stolen from, raped. Nithyananda is the abuser. And I think the reason more people don't come forward is that they're ashamed to call themselves victims, because we live in a warped society that likes to victim blame and victim shame, and to tell people, you know, you let yourself get abused. Remember, Nithyananda would always tell us, you can't ever be raped. There's no such crime as rape in the cosmos. Even if you didn't physically agree on a conscious level, your consciousness agreed. And so these poor kids who he's using and abusing are convinced that the problem is that they don't enjoy the abuse. They think that's what's wrong with them. They think the abuse is good, and the problem is that they don't enjoy it. And so all those soldiers that you would see sitting in their lines for the morning puja, they're just tormented, tortured souls who deep down inside, they know that what's being done to them feels bad, but they've been convinced that their emotions aren't allowed. And so they're fighting against their own nature. It's really horrific to think about.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You know, everybody has own story, and I think each of us is in a way traumatized, and we learn our own lections. And I think it will be a shame if any of us mature people that were there not join together and fight for a the, you know, like one of the biggest spiritual, if we can call him spiritual criminals at this time,
Yeah.
actually, because all these stories about he's the one you need to meet at this lifetime. He will be like Jesus.
Yeah.
In once, once we all the people that met him while he was in the human's body is going to be like the biggest thing. So you need to meet him right now. You just That was the thing that was for me the most uh, attractive. And actually I was living at that point in Berlin, which is really all about parties and drugs and things which I never fit. And it was I have nothing. Okay, I left my friends and boyfriend at that point, but I was like I was hardcore like um, a celibate, even a couple of months before I went there, and I was really, really weird. I wasn't even hugging people, and I didn't want to be touched,
Yeah.
and hardcore just to be like, like in a way perfect, because I was deep, deep into the whole thing, you know. Okay, let's mention the thing about initiations and um, who is going to take the wall of sannyas, the orange thing, and it came like really, really fast. I think 1 week since we arrived. Once we arrived, like 1 week, it's like, oh, Guru wants to do the initiation, and I was like, he's not even here. I know, I know, initiations, any type, like can be done, like remotely, but
Mm.
like, why do you want to, why don't you, if you can fucking teleport, why don't you teleport teleport for us and do the initiation? Like all these things, like on a big screen, and it's just like just two of us. I think 15 people came for Sarashivatva, and we are left like, I guess 13 or 12 on the end. But from all these 13 or 12, like two or three of us didn't want to go for orange for to become sannyasi, because for me was like it was too fast,
Mm.
and there was like all the people, they were coming to us because we're newbies and new, and we don't know anything. We should not think with our own, like feelings. No intuition, you don't have it. It always will be wrong. You just need to take it. It's who knows when is going to be the next time initiation. He's not giving initiations to be his sannyas every month, every day. You need to take this. It's a big, big thing. And I was like, I'm not going to take it.
Yeah.
And I felt like a shit. I felt so judged. I felt like so separate from all these people. Just one guy from Australia, and someone else. I guess just him and me. We didn't want to take it. No, no. One guy who had a partner, actually, he had a girlfriend back to Slovakia or something. Um, didn't take the whole initiation, and we were just kind of, in a group and trying to hold on, but it was pretty, pretty hard. Like they're all orange and you're fucking white,
Yeah, I know.
and
I
you're
got
just
tricked into the orange myself. I got tricked into it the last time I was in it. Um, the the day before the initiation, Nyanatma came up to me and said, Swamiji said specifically, get Swarupa Priya back in Kavi. And I said, he said that because I had asked him for the boon never to have to be in Kavi again because I hated the lifestyle so much. And she said, yes, he said specifically, get Swarupa Priya to take Kavi. And so the next day I did it because I thought the fraud, who at that time was my mistaken object of a god, guru, life, everything. And the next day, Nyanatma said he didn't really say that. He just said, get everybody to take it, tell them whatever you have to. So the people in that cult, they will lie to you to make you take the initiation that the guru wants everyone to take. You can't even call it peer pressure because it's not a peer system of equals. It feels like they are your superiors and that you have to do what they're saying. So the three of you who held out and didn't take it, like, good job, good on you for that. Um, it's not easy. So, you know,
you know please.
sorry, just at the beginning of the interview, you mentioned that you see the kids get beaten for falling asleep and the teacher acting like an evil stepmother and a cartoon villain role, those things were very much hidden from Westerners up until the time I left. So it's kind of shocking to me that it was so open that even somebody like you coming from, you know, the West, from Berlin or from where you'd been living at the time, it's shocking to me that they let you see that, you know?
If you're sitting for the puja in the morning, and they are all in the first row,
Yeah.
and you're just at the back, way back, and you can just tell the way she's pulling their hands, and actually she sometimes tell to an older kid in a gurukul to beat someone that is sitting beside, and when the camera is not directly facing them, that happens really, really. I think they're in the end they were just um, I think they are doing this so spontaneous. They are not even aware. I mean, it didn't happen the whole beat up thing at the in the temple itself in the morning, but you can tell that there is nothing what they are claiming about ahimsa and thing, because you can see the face muscles and all the people. I was first believing that all this energy from, okay, he's not a peace guru, he's a power guru, the Shiva and all the thing. You can tell each of these people you are becoming what's surrounding you. Of course, you become evil because you are worshiping someone who is so I don't know, like frustrated and so ego and all this shit. You can tell that is radiating from his the way he speak and everything. Like um, I was even so frustrated because I could not find him so holy as you all guys claim that
Yeah.
he is. And from all his videos and thing, and at beginning I was as well pissed because he's not there. Like I came because of him, low key because of you too, and
Yeah.
all these beautiful people that were sharing the videos, and busy bees that were attracting more and more people, and you seem like like a good people to join and live with, and like, but he not being there was like, what the fuck,
I know. And
where are you?
yeah.
And even this murti, like the doll that represents him in the temple in the morning, was for me like I felt fear, and I felt like I need to be appreciating the whole thing, and I cannot believe how hard you can be brainwashed and manipulated, to which degree, if he is there himself personally.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point you raise, because he was a much better actor in the early days. Like I remember when I first found him back in 2009, it was videos that were recorded in 2007 and 2008 that I was first drawn to. And in those videos, he would take the stage so gracefully. Like his body language looked very feminine. He didn't seem like a hard, angry man. And he would just say, I'm not here to tell you that I'm God. I'm here to tell you that you're God. And he would say, the world of spirituality is like a garden, and each religion is like a different type of flower. And it's the seeker's job to visit every garden and take the flowers we like and use that to weave the garland of our unique spiritual path. And that's very appealing. I still believe in those particular principles, that we're basically in a religion buffet and we get to choose the dishes we want to consume. But over the years, he went from an all-inclusive, all-encompassing, everyone is welcome kind of a figure into a very rigid, closed, dogmatic, egotistical, predatory, frightening dictator. And the change was so gradual that those of us who had been there from the early days when he was still pretending to believe in all the religions and to be following in the footsteps of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, when he degenerated from being an actor into being a tyrant, he became a lot more off-putting to newcomers. And so obviously when you joined, it must have looked crazy to see so many good-hearted, decent, loving people literally worshiping a demon. And I feel that for me particularly, I didn't fall into his trap by accident. I do believe I was put into his path deliberately by existence because somebody had to go in there who would have the fucking courage to stand up against him, even when he does character assassination against his so-called enemies, even when he sues people in multiple courts to try to silence them the way he did to Aarti Rao, even when he puts fake rape cases against people the way he's now trying to silence Lenin Karupan, by having Ranjita, his queen bee herself, file a fake rape case against him. Somebody had to go in and experience that suppression, that abuse, who could later come out and say, you know what, he's a fraud, but I'm divine and he's evil. You're divine and he's evil. We're divine, he's evil. And I do believe that that was my mission. And, you know, I'm grateful to you that you said, Sofija, that you don't blame me for having recruited you in. And I appreciate that because, you know, it was never my intention to recruit people into a nefarious cult. It was my intention to revive the Vedic lifestyle that is a beautiful thing, yoga, pure vegan food, ahimsa, in a way that no animals are harmed, no people are harmed. And, you know, the education system on this planet teaches kids what to think and not to use their own intuition, not to use their own creativity, but to color within the lines that the dictators have drawn in the textbooks for them. You know, math class. I remember in high school, I would get all the answers correct, but because I did my work differently and didn't always show it, I would get accused of cheating. This world is set up in such a way that those of us who have beautiful minds are told that we're stupid and that we're failures and that we're doomed because we don't fit in this world. And I think that the fraud who calls himself Nithyananda, he's like a cartoon caricature of an evil villain that basically represents everything cancerous on this planet right now, which is the misogynistic rape culture that blames the victims and allows the perpetrators to keep getting away with their evil crime. He's murdered people, and Raja Rajeshwari Hospital has destroyed the evidence for him. We know that from the video my daughter joined a cult with Sangeeta's poor mom who can't get justice just because she doesn't speak English. And, you know, it's just horrific to consider how many people has he actually killed whose families have never come forward to report the missing or dead people because they're scared that he'll go after them next, which he's done to others. And so, yeah, it might have been cringy to some people when I showed the little sheriff badge, but I'm just here to say it's time that we start policing the police if the police won't do their job. So I appreciate that you're throwing your hat into the ring too, because it's always more powerful with higher numbers of people, Sofija. So thank you.
I think that's the least we all can do, and I think I'm not sure if anybody of us that were there that I hope someone has a bigger audience, and I think they should be joining you, and you guys can do way more. But I'm not blaming you, and not even a second, because I know how life works. You always connect with people that you need to go something through with, and you were the one in many people's life because that's what it is, and that's why I want to help and participating in this thing with you, because you one of the many there, but you had the biggest talent and power to attract many people. And you said once, actually, how many people they gave you to actually to attract for the awakening program, and if you could not reach up to 1,000 or how many,
10,000.
you
Wanted 10,000.
10,000. Oh my goodness!
From my YouTube
Actually,
only. Yeah, he wanted.
if you don't achieve, you will be yelled at, or being like you are not
Yeah.
doing,
He
you
said I
know,
would be sent to a branch Audinum to wither and die and get beaten for the rest of my life. Those are his exact words. Yeah.
because he knows you could do a lot, and that's why actually I feel you can destroy him as well.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, this body, Sarah Landry, can't destroy him because I'm too ahimsa, but Kali, who works through this body, has already destroyed him. And now we just get to watch the Leela unfold. That's how I
Actually, and someone who is not, someone who was abused on in other way in life can understand, or some other cult that I was 1 or 2 years before joining this cult is actually but they were not they were saying many bad things about LGBT people. That's why this fraud actually was the thing for me, because I was still not transitioning at that point, but I obviously I had this male and female energy within me. There was a thing I was like, wow, that's my ashram, that's my temple. I need to be there. But um, as well, I think if someone see the violence, or someone is sexually abused, is a responsibility of the whole society, not like, oh, my neighbors, that's not my thing.
yeah,
Actually, it is your thing, because it is in society and within us.
yeah,
We need all, especially everybody that was in touch with him.
yeah,
It needs to be now together.
yes.
And but I see all these big sexual predators now. It's slowly the planets, and the time is about to come for them all
Oh
to
yeah,
be. Yeah, everything comes sooner or later. Plus, he is living already in his own personal hell.
true.
We
It's
can
true.
tell.
He
We
might
can
be
tell. See,
staying in a presidential suite of a five-star hotel in some shitty country that's run by liars who are suppressing their own women and children in their own ways. But he's not living a freedom life. He's scared to go outside. He's terrorized by the idea of being caught. And he knows that we're catching him. So there's a reason we call him Poops. He's probably shitting his pants every moment with terror because he knows his game is over and that he can never get away now because he's committed so many crimes with so many people involved and so many witnesses that it's inescapable. His fate is sealed. He wrote it himself. The moment, like the planet Earth, a lie that we've all been made to believe is that someone is innocent until proven guilty. We've been made to believe that because the guilty have been running the court systems. And I'm here to say someone is guilty the moment the crime is committed. And they are never innocent. They're only perceived innocent until proven guilty. But that perceived innocence can't be there when our third eye is open. Once you have your third eye awakened, you can see who is the rapist, who is the slime ball, who is the dirty cop, who is the hospital worker taking a bribe to do, cremate this, get rid of that. When we have our third eyes open and we start to see just how all-encompassing and at how many different levels of society there is corruption that's allowing these predators to kill people, rape people, beat people, steal from people. I mean, it becomes impossible to not speak up and stand up and do something. And, I've been obsessing over, do you know the song Zombie by the Cranberries from like the 1990s?
No, really.
Oh, it's just such a beautiful song. And I've been thinking about it a lot lately. And the purpose of the song was that when Ireland was at civil war, the Catholics versus the Protestants, and everyone bombing and killing each other, the lead singer is saying, "It's not me, it's not my family." But what she's really saying is that just because you're not the one getting victimized doesn't mean that you have to be quiet. Because if it's happening to anybody's kids, it's happening to all of our kids. And basically, if you see something bad, say something. Don't just stay silent, because silence is what allows predators to keep inflicting their harm on the world. And so thank you so much for breaking your silence and talking about the fact that you saw those kids oppressed, depressed, beaten, and very, very truly living a militant lifestyle. Nithyananda was not trying to raise blissful young meditators. He's trying to raise an army who will fight for him when he tells them to.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't so much in contact with these kids because they just come in the morning and they are just kind of, but you can see the way they look at you, they are screaming for help, their eyes and the way they are, you know, they look like they don't have, either they're shy or something, but like they didn't have it looks like they were not so, I cannot say social, but like you can tell there is some barrier or the way they were told to behave or something like, someone who is coming from the for the first time there,
Mhm.
we are still not fully like into like the whole we were still not kind of, like all these 20 days, we are still not became like truly, um, we were brainwashed the fact we are there, but like hardcore, still not like all these people.
Right.
But like all these thing about like, okay, I went out, okay, sannyasi orange, they can kind of break up the thing and go back to society, but purna sannyas, they cannot give up.
Yeah.
And if they end up being with poop still and they want to, if they are just, Hindu and living this like from early age and they're hardcore, they have this in their subconscious, they cannot give up of this. And they just maybe, I just like, I was thinking many, many times, I had a really, really like really attacks in a way within me that I was just like, poor, poor, poor people,
Yeah.
poor people. I saw many, many, many of these Purnasanyas. They look the most sleep deprived, although they are the last one that wake up.
Yeah.
And the four, they continue sleeping. They're just like already like, oh, he's not here, I'll sleep. But they look like street beggars.
Yeah.
Some of them, they look really wasted. They look really, really with all these, okay, these jatas and these like not washing hair or something, but like they look, one of them, many of them, they look really, really something is they're possessed or something.
And literally, they are possessed. They are possessed in the sense that their fraud guru thinks of them not as humans, but as possessions. They belong to him. And the most dirty, you know, I don't want to go on an extreme tangent and say it's worse to be a sannyasi in his cult than to be dead. But in a lot of ways it is, because if somebody is killed, they are released from all of their suffering. They can take their next birth. They go into the Hiranyagarbha. They get reassigned a new identity. But for those who are living in the bondage, and in our ex cult, it's the Purna sannyasis who are living that worst bondage. But in other segments and demographics of society, this could refer to the people living in the RPF in Scientology. It can refer to the branded slaves of DOS in Nexium. It can refer to the child soldiers in parts of Africa that are constantly going to war and training kids to murder from the time they're born. Anytime a person feels that they have no autonomy over their own life, no decision, no choice what to do for work or whether or not to work or with whom to socialize, when somebody's autonomy is taken away from them to the level that they don't even feel that they have the right to talk to their own family because they're told that the guru is the mother, father, brother, sister, everything, and the biological family is irrelevant. When that kind of a person gets beaten, they don't even feel like they have the right to be sad for themselves. It's really horrific. And I've heard from a lot of, escaped Purna sannyasis. I don't want to endanger anybody by giving the gender or the location of those with whom I've spoken. Um, but yeah, the level of identity deprivation they've gone through is so extreme that to them, the only thing that matters in the universe is the approval of a narcissistic psychopath who will never give it to them. And that's what keeps them on that perpetual treadmill of death that leads nowhere. And one of the saddest things that I ever heard when I was there, fully brainwashed, was the fraud told us that we have no right to miss the morning routine. Even if you're dying, die in the yoga hall. Don't die in the dorm. Your dead body has to get dragged to yoga. Even if you die, you have no right to miss the yoga. That's what he told us. And he said, besides anyone who surrenders to him when you die, you're just going to be assigned a new department in the next loka, in the next, figment of his imagination, because he has no loka. There's no such thing as Nithyananda loka. Those who surrender to him who die, they'll go through the same reincarnation process everyone else does, which is good news. But my God, was it ever depressing when he lied to all of us and told us that we'd still be his slaves in the next life. Um, so yeah, those Purna sannyasis, yeah, it's as sad as the kids. It's as sad as the animals in the Goshala that he claims is a farm sanctuary, but I've heard terrible reports to the contrary. Yeah.
Tell me shortly.
About the animals,
Yes.
I've heard from kids who left the gurukul that they had been forced to kill kittens, puppies, and sacrifice other animals in order to gain the guru's approval. And that Sundareshwara took the lead on that. Under Rishi Advait, I heard Rishi Advait was the one who would have them kill cats. And as an animal lover, to me, that was when something inside me just snapped and I thought, fuck it, I'll be Kali if I have to, but they're all going to be destroyed for this, you know?
That's how they start. I mean, first you start with animals, and who knows, maybe you just for your guru you might kill someone else.
Yeah. Well, Sharabeshwara, who ran the team called Trishul, which was kind of like the negative version of the social media team. So like I was the head of a team called Social Media Team, which was all about filming the good things, the delicious sattvic Ayurvedic food, the Siddha medicine, the deities being carved. It was our job to show the positive stuff that was going on. Meanwhile, a guy named Sharabeshwara, who was literally like fresh from the Indian army, he went from a military life to an ashram life. Um, he ran a team called Trishul Team that was charged with the task to silence any of Nithyananda's online critics. And so their job was to create bot armies that would harass anybody who tried to speak out against Nithi, to put false rape accusations against people. Like, for example, when Priya Maya, that sweet girl from Malaysia, falsely accused me of beating her and sexually assaulting her, I know it wouldn't have been her who wrote that. It would have been crafted probably by Achala, Pranapriya, and Sharabeshwara. Um, but yeah, he had four groups of people whose tasks were criminal. And I remember Sharabeshwara told me once there was a court document of Vinay Bharadwaj. He was one of Nithyananda's rape victims who was falsely sent to prison for a rape accusation, way back in the early days before I joined. Achala Swami gave me a court transcript that she needed me to type up as a Word document, and it outlined the horrific details of the anal rape that Vinay had gone through by Nithyananda. Um, and after I typed it up, Charabeshwara said, if we handled critics the way Amma, the hugging saint, handles critics, we wouldn't be in this mess right now. And I asked him, does Amma have critics? Because I've never heard anyone accuse the hugging saint of anything bad. And Sharabeshwara told me that he heard that a young girl who had been brutalized in Amma's ashram had gone to a police station to report the crime. And the police informed Amma's people of it. So they came in and killed the girl and her family and got away with it because Dharma had to be protected, is how Sharabeshwara worded it. And so if somebody is speaking out against an embodiment of Dharma, like a hugging saint or a Nithyananda, then surely it's justified to kill that person in order for the greater good. And that was one of the turning points in my life there. That's kind of when I decided to play along with them, but never, ever, ever allow their evil to seep into the core of my being, because he was making it sound like if anybody here speaks out about getting beaten, brutalized, raped, whatever, then Sharabeshwara would be willing to kill them, to shut them up. And he said it to me in a way that was almost like, you should be ashamed of yourself if you wouldn't be willing to do the same, you know? I don't know if you saw Federico too. Like, I remember when I interviewed Federico, he said that his wake up call was when Niti wanted to instruct all the males who were newly recruited to use the Shaktis to kill their enemies.
No, I don't know when was the whole thing. No, no. There was always something new, like all this, like, oh, everyone should be bisexual, and this. I think it was coming like I first time heard about this.
Yeah, the bisexual thing was a weird one too, because there was a day when Niti told me that he wanted to have a threesome with me and another female, and he told me to find another female. And I said, that disgusts me. Like, I'm disgusted by this thought. And it's not that I'm disgusted by lesbians or bisexuality. There are some beautiful women out there who I probably would if the circumstances were right. But in that context, the idea of picking another victim to please a man who's parading around pretending to be celibate, that was just so disgusting to me that I actually had the audacity to tell him no. And that's when he told everybody in the campus, Swarupa Priya has become arrogant. How dare she think she knows better than the guru? They sent me from Anandapuri, where I had a room to sleep and to live in the dorms. And there was a public program going on at the time, so I didn't get a bed. That meant I slept on the floor, and you know what the dorm floor looked like. So yeah, the whole everyone has to be bisexual thing, what I find so disturbing about it is that Niti will take something that's a biological fact, that, nature finds a way, so to speak, that, people will fall in love against all odds and against all programmed circumstances with whoever we fall in love with. But he would take it and twist it into a way that served his own predatory rapist agenda. Like he wanted everyone attracted to everyone else so that they'd have an orgy with him, not so that they could enjoy their own sexual autonomy. And that's seriously wrong.
Actually, if he's really reincarnation of Shiva, everybody would love to
It's true,
interact with him, even in this way, because we are all there, like not having sex. So why not? I mean,
right?
like you don't know how far he's thinking,
Exactly.
and he's not even attractive Indian.
No, he's not. He was when he was very young. Like when he was so young that the evil hadn't fully seeped into his appearance yet before he let the demons totally take him over. But yeah, no, he's hideous now. Yeah.
He changed so many shapes, like being um okay, this feminine, this that, and then like chubby, and then overweight, and then skinny suddenly, because he's channeling new updates from the universe, and now
Yeah.
he's like really skinny, and like I just, for me, was really really screaming like he is really really in some sort of a trouble or something, because
Oh yeah.
so drastically to change the way you look, because you
Mhm.
need to go live with us sometimes.
It's
It's
true.
just it's
Can we
weird.
maybe we have a part two of this? My boyfriend just came home. He's usually not home this early, but it might not be as easy to film an interview. Um, but maybe what I'll say is if anyone watching this has any questions for me or for Sofija, I think today we set a beautiful groundwork for your time in the cult, what you witnessed in the Gurukul kids, how important it is for everyone to speak up. But maybe next time I would love to talk about spirituality in life post cult experience. You're a beautiful woman now. I would love to hear your journey of how you found your new identity. I would love to hear about the Reiki for animals because animals are, in my opinion, the most innocent, pure, sweet victims we need to help on this planet right now. Um, but maybe if anybody watching this has a question about your time in the cult or your time in the Gurukul kids' presence, the things that you witnessed, maybe the 4 years that you spent as an online devotee. Like, I think a lot of people right now have friends and family who are falling victim to online scams, who might want to know what was it like when you went into that process, when you started alienating yourself from your friends and family. If that would be okay with you, maybe we can do a part two.
Yes, of course, of course. I think online is really, really important because everything is online today, and they can hide many, many things, and actually it's even way more dangerous and hard to discover if someone is a fraud or not. And
Mm.
animals, we were not allowed to touch animals there at all. Like these dogs that didn't have initiation by him, and all this thing was for me really, 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 really weird at that point because I had a dog.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah. Of course, if we feel like having a part two, we're gonna
Yeah.
do it.
I
And
would love to talk
yeah,
about Reiki and those kinds of things. And if there's anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get a chance to this time around, maybe type it up so that I know specifically which areas to ask you
yeah,
questions about.
Yes, we've been sent, three of us, we were sent to Hyderabad,
Oh,
and we, because there is a second part how I actually escape, and actually I wouldn't go out from the main temple because the energy was way more intense. So
yeah.
I was somehow sent to somewhere else where we actually felt more free, and then on the end I escaped back to Europe. So
Wow.
I could talk about this, but we
Yes.
will see.
This was
Yeah.
kind of a last minute plan for both of us anyway today. So I'm just grateful that you've shared everything that you have, and I can't wait to hear about your escape in our next sit down together.
Why
Yeah.
not? Why not?
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me, for shining your light, for speaking your truth, for encouraging me to keep going with it as well, because, you know, any of us in a human body have our own self-doubts that come up from time to time, but I believe we'll win this when we all start speaking out.
You should never stop. Even if you get bored or something, you have a talent to speak, and you should be constantly talking about that.
I'll do it. I won't shut up until that demon is rotting in prison. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love to everyone. Have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you. Love to everyone and love to you. And we'll see you next time. So, anyone watching this, if you have any questions for Sofija or for me, please do leave them in the comment section below. And if you have a loved one who is under the delusion of the fraud who dares to call himself Nithyananda, don't worry, his days are numbered. But call your local law enforcement, report the fact that somebody is being victimized by coercive control by an organization that has been criminally violent in the past. And yeah, just put it on the radar. And I think we'll find out who the good cops are by doing stuff like that. So yeah, thank you. Let us know if there's anything else you'd like to hear us talk about next time. I won't promise when it's going to be. I'll just say it will happen at some point. Anything last words you'd like to share with our viewers?
Um, yeah, please join us, everyone that had any story and been there or online. You are more than welcome to share, regardless of your English or and anything that will help for this violence, especially for kids to stop. You are doing great job. Just yeah, don't overthink. Just join us.
Yeah.
That those criminals needs to be yeah.
They can't fight when everyone who's witnessed their crimes starts speaking out. It's true. They'll have nowhere to hide. And that's what I'm working towards. And I think, yeah, I love that. I second it. Is so if you survived the cult of Nithyananda or Vishwananda or any other cult that people aren't willing to talk about because they're afraid of getting, you know, silenced. I'm never going to get silenced. So come on, we'll do an interview on this YouTube channel. They can demonetize me. Isn't it funny that you can't spell demonetize without the word demon? I wonder who runs YouTube anyway. Is it still run by people connected to Google, and Google is connected to Nithyananda? And that's why if you Google him, you never see any of the truth. You only see the cult lies. Interesting things to think about. But for now, I'm going to get going because my boyfriend came home early and that means my weekend starts now. But thank you so very much for your bravery and for all of your wonderful advice and compliments and just your lovely presence. Thank you so much, Sofija. And
No, thank you for your bravery.
my
We're
pleasure.
all affected by your bravery,
Oh,
truly.
well, thank you. So I'm not sure how to end the recording without also ending our Zoom meeting.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's all right.
stop recording.